And what I liked about Daima is how they wrapped up the story very well. I mean, they only had a couple of minutes, and I think they made the most of it. Because once you finally defeat Goma, he's. We gave our thoughts on Goma multiple times now, but him, Degasu, like them being trapped in what felt like a Mafuba. Am I
It
tripping
was
or?
very much a Mafube. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So a little
Yeah,
demon
absolutely it
world
was.
Mafuba. I mean, we wrap that up, and then we have to figure out one thing now that Goma's been dethroned.
Who's
Who
the king?
is
It's
the
king.
king, man? I think this was really cool, and they were trying to figure it out. Shin Hare is like, yo, Arinsu, I ain't gonna lie. I think you got a little bit of a conscience. You got a little bit of a heart, sister. You're not as tough as you act. And that's one of the developments. I'm telling you, yo. It's development for Arinsu because she didn't originally have that. Do you like Arinsu as a side character? Did you like her as sort of like an opposing force? What did you like and what made you have wanted from her as she developed or got further along?
I think we've spoken about it in the past, so I won't get into it for too long. But I was a little bit confused. Like I said previously that I think Degasu and Arinsu could have just been the same character based on everything we saw up until maybe episode 18. But now that episode 20's wrapped, I like that Degasu and like they're kind of two prisoners, two people that they had to sort of send away. Arinsu I thought was interesting where she's like, no, I don't want to be Demon King now. I need a little bit more extra juice from the Dragon Balls, otherwise someone's just gonna overthrow me straight up. And that was basically the trigger for Never to be like, well, I mean, you're not wrong. Whoever beats the Demon King is the Demon King. So because of that, and they all kind of like look at
I love how they're
Majin
staring
Buu.
at Goku first, like they're
Yeah,
insinuating it would be
I was.
Goku, and then we're like,
Well,
no,
hey,
that
that's
doesn't
a
make
fair point.
sense.
It's a fair point. I dig it. But yeah, no, they or I was even thinking of Glorio for a second, because he squashed the third eye. You know what I mean? Like I thought he might get a little bit of a bit of attention, but he didn't. Um, but no, King Ku, as he is known now,
That's
he was
so
happy to take it
fire,
on.
yo. I like it, man.
Well, I agree, and he looks great with the cape, by the way,
Yep.
which is obviously the
It's,
royal
it's
kind of thing.
perfect. I didn't realize that
Yeah, I
was their
like it.
version of the crown. I thought they were just wearing it like as like a gimmick. And then I'm putting two and two.
Well,
I'm like,
yeah,
oh, that was Deborah's crown the whole time, all these
yeah,
decades. That's cool, man.
yeah. No, I like that, and I like it how then they used King Ku basically as a vehicle to sort of address the cast and
Yes.
kind of thank everyone. You know what I mean? Like as much as it's probably him doing it, starting to create his cabinet or whatever you want to call it. It was very much a let's do the rounds of everyone we've met on the journey and thank them for their service. And they went to King Kadan, they went to Never, they went to Rinsu, they went to even Margin. Wait, Doo's the fat one, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
Margin Doo, who's just chasing butterflies for the fun of it. You got Supreme Kai. I also thought they might offer it to Supreme Kai, the king, the royalty. The I guess the crown, so to speak. It was just a fleeting thought, but yeah, they did everyone, and yeah, it was a really good moment to go around the cast like that and thank each and every one of them and kind of offer them a role. And it doesn't seem like the status quo is going to change too much. But I think the point that I liked the most was when right at the end, when he's thanked everyone, he turns to Arinsu and goes, "Let's try and make the demon realm a scary but good place to be."
Yes.
I thought it was a cool little, like they still want it to be like it's called the demon realm. It's got to be scary to a point, I guess,
Yeah.
but not. It doesn't have to be a terrible place.
And it's like a meet in the middle type of moment because
Yeah,
she's still getting what she which is why she wanted, which is why she created Ku and Do in the first place. So I'm sure they're gonna follow it somewhat in her image. And like you're saying, they had Ku like choosing out his members and whatnot. But what I liked about it is it was directly said. I think it was Piccolo. Maybe they were like he already seems good at this, which in
yeah,
just
yeah.
implies a certain trust of what's gonna happen out there. That was really cool. I love how Hybish tried to join it. Like, hi, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he just
Give me a
ignored him, didn't
job,
he?
and yeah. So with that, we've got our people. Like, but yeah, man, this is great. This is really dope. And then Glorio, of course, they're not Glorio's development. They're like, yo, you are a good judge of character. You have a good heart for a
Yes.
demon.
Yeah.
Period. And it's really dope to see all of these characters have, I guess, just good endings, you know, like just to see
Mm.
them all get wrapped up. I don't feel like anyone was ignored unless I'm forgetting somebody. Like Hibis was literally ignored, right? But I don't feel like
Yeah,
anybody
but
was
he's
ignored who
he's
we didn't get answers to.
yeah.
Shoot, we even saw the
Nah, I mean,
Tamagami, which in that final episode,
we
which was
did.
cool.
We did. They had to reference that. It's a shame that I'm not a shame really. That's extreme. But I wish that Tamagami 3 was kind of still practicing his Kamehameha when we saw the Kamehameha. Like it just maybe it just remind like seeing the beam
Imagine
maybe
two
reminded
doing
you like
a Gallic
oh
gun. Oh
or a final
man,
flat. Wait,
he
what did he
got
get
beat
hit
by
with? Was it a
the
Galley
Super
gun?
Gallic gun. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that would have
Okay.
been
Yeah. Yeah.
hilarious,
Same
man.
thing. It would have been cool.
Yeah, you're right.
But no, I think it was a good wrap. There's a lot. There is a lot of questions, I guess, still, or I guess there's a lot of points throughout the series, and this is a topic for another day that I think were left unanswered. And I think it was intentional. Now I think it's a Toriyama-ism, for lack of a better term, to kind of build up things and just do literally nothing with it. I think it's his gag. I think he's like, well, I'm going to tease all our fans because I know how
Yeah,
in depth they are now. They read into everything. Everything's foreshadow. Everything's going to be a fusion. Everything's going to be a transformation. And there was a lot of things that pointed to that possibly happening, which genuinely amounted to not even a mention almost.
it's
And I think
insane.
that's funny in its own right, but it's a big list, and I think it's a topic for another video when we review Daima as a whole at a later date. I think,
Things Daima
but
could have done. To, I imagine we
yeah,
got to
yeah,
knock
10
that out
things that
now.
Diver should have
Yeah,
done differently or whatever, just it's a bit like that. But if it was honestly if it was a creator any other than Toriyama, it probably would sit a little bit more sour with me. But knowing him and how he's so lax or was so lax and was so gag heavy, like he considered himself a gag manga artist more than he considered himself like an action manga artist. So telling jokes and or even just straight up forgetting about things is not out of the realm of possibility for him, and he never cares. He was never like, oh damn it, I forgot to pull that thread and pay off that thing that I did. He doesn't care. He's like, I don't know,
yeah.
I wrote this story, I told this story, I'm happy with how it finished. It is what it is. And whether you love it or hate it, I mean, it's up to the individual. Sometimes you're kind of caught between the two, and that's completely okay. But I think it all wrapped very well. Yeah, again, I just liked seeing every character again. Like I loved the King Kadan and his crew a lot. I think they were really really fun. I've said it before. I liked his female assistant, who was doing like a big hug with Do at the end, like the two thicker
Yeah.
people. It was cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I was just seeing little moments like that. And it was cool. Like even Pansy, who was like grabbing Vegeta's hand to do the
Yes,
wave
that's
when
what I
they
love.
came
That
off.
was my favorite little like frame interaction, right? Like they didn't have to throw that in there at all. And
No,
that
they
made me
didn't,
smile for sure. That was fire, man. I did like that.
because I think it was interesting to think that like they didn't really interact one on one a significant amount,
Exactly.
but you think about it, and she's a very
She's an
what's the
appealing
best way?
character to I would argue to the
She's
audience, but even the characters, like the characters they all seem to like
yeah,
her, you
she's a
know.
very going and almost tomboyish kind of character. I would imagine that, like in my head, when Vegeta joined that crew, it wouldn't have taken him long to just respect her because anything she got to say was valuable, and everything she did was was productive. So he wouldn't have had any problem with her like kind of bossing him around, especially because she's now such good friends with Bulma as well.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking
Um,
of Vegeta, I mean, I guess we'll get to the Saiyans last, right? The people will hang out with us long enough
yeah,
to talk about them real quick, right? But I like that we were waiting. Really, I don't want to say like you're saying, like I don't want to say it's a shame, but yeah, we do. I wish that we had more of the Nameks interacting like they did at the end. Just
oh,
hey,
that
like
was
hey, why don't you stay
all
here?
we've been
Like, I'm
waiting
kind of
for.
bored, huh? I got things to do back home. I'm kind of the guardian out there, boss. All right. Well, I assume Piccolo's gonna say the same thing. It's like, yeah, pretty much. And to hear the, those of our people who would want to come back here, it would be really dope because they kind of they kind of almost felt like they're always getting removed from home. That's almost the
Yeah,
tragedy of the
well, like they
Nameks.
said, they're nomads. They are
Yes.
nomads now, and I think that's an interesting way to paint them, especially now that they have an original home to go to.
Yeah. It's
So
really
I like that. Yeah, when they were all standing together, I loved that. I
I
was like,
loved it,
yes,
man. I
finally the
loved it so
Namek.
much, and it's so
Yeah.
Piccolo coded because he's always every time him and Vegeta in like a movie or pretty much like
Mm,
anything major, half of the time either Piccolo and Vegeta are together or they're in their own little corners of the room. Like I really like it. Like even the end
yeah.
of Z, if you was it after the time skip in the end of Z? I think Piccolo was like laying in the grass and Gohan happened to stumble across him in Capsule Corp. It's like small little moments like that. It's really
Yeah.
dope, man. I always love those. And so as for the last part, man, the Saiyans, that interaction, can you tell the people what you remember from that interaction? It seemed, it's one of those jokey
So
moments, but it was
Goku
really dope.
finally, Goku finally labeling Super Saiyan
I
4.
love it. I love it. No,
Um,
no beat
yeah.
arounds, no extra, no.
No,
I call
no.
it ultra. Not well. Speaking of ultra, we'll get to
Whoa,
that.
yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
no
yeah.
beat arounds, no extras, no long drawn out names. He straight up says Super Saiyan 4. I'm so happy he did that.
So, do you think then the assumption is that he had Super Saiyan 4 up his sleeve and never just kind of rejuvenated him enough to be able to access it?
Yeah, and
Or
that's gonna bring
because
out
that's
a larger conversation. We got to use that
oh
C
yeah,
word you and I love so much, huh? But
oh yeah, right.
yeah,
Because yeah, they basically kind of played it off in the same way that they played off Super Saiyan 3 in the Buu saga, where Vegeta didn't know about it.
yes.
He thought he'd caught Goku, and Goku had another form waiting in the wings. Like that's basically how they phrased it, or how they portrayed it. And then Goku's like, "Hey man, it's not that bad. You still got Super Saiyan 3." And Vegeta's like,
He said, "Don't call
"Nah,
it that,
that's
yo. Don't
yeah,
play
don't call it
me."
that." He's like, "No, it's Ultra Vegeta 1."
That
And
is
I hope
yo,
that
that shit
sticks.
is
I
hard.
hope that
Yeah,
sticks.
they gotta
I
coin it
hope
as
that sticks.
that.
When we get Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta in Dokkan, or Sparking Zero or whatever it is, it needs to be called Ultra Vegeta 1. It just has to.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm ready
I
for
just
it.
want
Shoot,
that just
even the
because it's
games are
fun.
already announcing it. I mean, I don't. I should have read what
Are
they
they?
named it, but yeah, Xenoverse 2. I believe they tweeted
Oh,
about it.
really?
Like they said, it's was it Xenoverse 2 or was it? It was Xenoverse 2. It had to be, and then it was Kakarot. Kakarot announced like part one of Daima or something like that as their
Are they
future
still
DLC.
doing Kakarot?
Yeah,
Jesus.
I couldn't believe it, but yeah, it was at those same couple of hours. So that's really cool for the games and those that still enjoy it. I mean, I like that for them.
Mm.
But yeah, Ultra Vegeta 1, Super Saiyan 4, we got those coined down. And as Goku and Vegeta are doing their like the mission is over. You and I can talk as the brothers we are at heart, right? Like that was really we always love those. We always love those. So yeah, such is
Yeah.
the wrap up of Daima. I mean, damn, well, we got everything. The Nameks are doing what the Nameks do. They're figuring their things out in their corner. We got King Kadon. Everybody's gotten their titles and things and such. Goma and Degasu. I don't know if you watched or we're looking at the art for like the credits while they were rolling, but like Goma and Degasu being in the jail and
Playing
they're playing
PlayStation and
games.
stuff. Yeah.
I love it. I
Yeah.
didn't think they were gonna make us like see it when she was like, "Yeah, we have games and stuff like there to keep you entertained for the 99 years." That was really cool, but such is the story of Daima. It is the Younging
Yeah.
Hitman. Y'all already know, man. It's my
I
brother
hope
in
we come back to
arms.
this.
Yeah, for
I hope we
sure.
come back to this. I really do. I hope that it's popular enough with the creators for them to want to explore more from this again. And I mean, there is the C word to discuss, the big canon. So whatever you think, like, I'd love to know whether people down the comments below, like, if I have to put a question to the listeners, do you do you care about canon, or B, do you want them to split? Do you want Dragon Ball Super 2 at the same time as Daima 2, and them to be like separate timelines and just have more Dragon Ball, or would you prefer it to be kind of more, I guess, what would you call it? More like one
Streamlined,
kind of
maybe might
thing.
be the
Yeah,
word.
streamline. Yeah, it's probably a better word to use. I don't know, because I mean, I've always been in the camp, and I know this is where you and I differ, and I think that's why we get along so well, is because we got different perspectives. Is that I like things being separate,
Yeah.
whereas you like things being a little bit more streamlined and concise, and one thing is led to another, and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'd love to know what the general population think about all that, because yeah, I don't think it matters, but some people think it does. That's Daima though, as you say. That's a wrap. It's
That's
been
a
20 weeks.
wrap. I like that.